disappointing people is not the same as disrespecting them.
My biggest message to my younger self is disappointing your parents is not the same as disrespecting them. So follow your dreams. They'll catch up. They will catch on. They will catch on. They will be proud of you eventually. The biggest no you're going to hear is from your parents. But you have to counter that with, what is my evidence saying? Because you have to understand your parents are working from a mindset of what they know. If they grew up in a world that didn't have creative careers, how are you expecting them to really believe in yours? Give them the tools they need. Guys, don't be afraid to present to your parents, like, guys, this is what I want to study and why, But believe in yourself, find ways to make it happen. And disappointing people is not the same as disrespecting them.
And I think grief brings you a lot of perspective. Life is short. Life is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. So if you don't take the risks and do the things that you want to do, you'll be lying on your deathbed and wishing that you did them. And you will forever live in regret. And so that is one of the reasons why I decided to jump ship.
I'd always say, and it's like anything you want to just jump, just go for it. Like, you never know. Yeah, you never know. And if I die, I die. And you're going to die anyway. That's the only thing that's guaranteed in life is death. One of the guys that you're working with, his t-shirt says, happiness is a journey, not a destination. That's essentially what it is,
You say something interesting, right?
Yeah.
And I like how you say it with, your chest.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm irrejectable.
Yes.
What do you think is there about you that you do differently that just makes you unrejectable?
Is it Intlantla Zami? Madlozi wa my ex, they're working overtime. It's fine. I'm like, no, be confident, know how to talk, know how to represent yourself well, dress up well, look good, child. Smell good too, put a smile on your face and be honest.
So my advice would be SEO is very broad. You need to make sure that you try to understand as much as you can in SEO. Only when you are now comfortable, then you can say, I want to specialize in content SEO, tech SEO, off-page SEO, or whatever area of SEO you want to specialize in. But as a startup, make sure that you get to know all the areas of SEO because they are codependent to each other. If you only know of one, then you may not bring as much value as a person who specializes in tech SEO but understands content and how it relates with tech SEO.
If you're writing for people, then you must try and understand people. So when you're around people, you must try and understand the people that you're with. This is how they act. Because you actually start seeing commonalities around people. Because a lot of times people think when you're a writer, you must come up with these things that are far-fetched or whatever. But the most powerful things are usually the simple ones. And when you put it out there, it's like, oh man, why didn't I think about it? Because it's right there. It's in front of all of us. Sure. And those are the things that resonate with a lot of people. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it's you have to write all the time. Like every day you must write. I write every day, no matter what it is. Whether I'm writing for LinkedIn or I'm writing stuff for class, I'm writing stuff for this or I'm writing for that. Like that, I'm just writing all the time, So, and you get better at it because then you get to understand what your perspective is from things. Because anybody can write, everybody can write. That's what we are taught at school. Like, they wanted us to learn how to read and write. So reading and writing is done by what's your voice? Like, what's that vibe? Like, what's your perspective that's different to everybody else, So you can find that perspective in writing every day and figuring out what excites people that that feels natural to you. Yeah. But other people feel like, whoa, how did you come like that?
So I start work for a startup. You're going to cry about the money, but it's literally a school of life, Like I always want to be an entrepreneur. Like doesn't matter at what point in time. Like I don't see myself, depending on how much Google pays, but I might work for Google, right? But I'll always end up having a business. And I think that depending on what sort of creative you want to be, if you want to work on big brands, do the agency thing because it will give you access. But if you want to really make a difference, I would say work in startups, build something, and find that cross between the two. Because once you have solidified that integration between a startup world and a corporate world, and you get to a point where you're so creative and well respected from a startup perspective, that corporates have to give you the money. You know that you've achieved what you need to achieve in that field.
You excel, get into that, and then YouTube. Just fill yourself with like people doing it, that how they're doing the designs, how they're solving problems, because that's what UX is solving problems.
Yep.
And then also learn tools. And once you've learned tools, you then create your first case study. So a case study can be like, my first case study was a dating app.
Okay.
So I basically looked at the product.
Like Tinder.
Yes. So I was basically looking at Tinder. I studied Tinder and them, and then I saw what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, and everything. And then I kind of did a case study of how I'll develop a much better app and how it would work. So that's a case study. So you can either design a whole app or a specific section to say, I think Tinder would be great if it had this. Cool. So once you do your case study, then you can start applying to jobs. The jobs are really simple. Just do about 2 to 3 case studies and maybe a couple of UI designs, and then just apply. You'll be picked so quick. Like my friend didn't even wait a month to get the next job. Like it's so quick and it's so needed, and your first salary is going to be so good. The time to learn, and I'm always for learn properly. Give yourself 8 months to a year. Just focus on it and do it.
You don't get stuck on what you have learned, because I studied ecom business management. Right? And so, but on a day-to-day, encounter problems that are largely tech, user experience, user design, and things that I would have never thought I would be doing on a day-to-day basis. So what is important more than what you know is what you are willing to learn. To say, are you a lifelong learner? Because I can tell you now, when I was in university, the role of a digital product owner did not exist. The role of a UX, UI designer, UX researcher didn't exist. The role of a graphic designer was different to what it is today. And so if you went to school and studied something like that with the view that you want to be that for the rest of your life, I've got news for you.
Okay.
That constantly changes. So just coming back to the point is, yes, I encourage people to be in product development if you are the type of person that is passionate about solving problems. And seeing the problems that you solved in action. You know, there's nothing like being able to speak to someone about a platform that you've worked on and ask them how their experience is interacting with that platform. You know, without being emotional about it. So, just lifelong learner. Don't be too stuck on what you know, but more interested in what you can learn. And when I say learn, I think I want to make a very important point. Because we often say lifelong learner, and we say learn, and when I say learn, people are thinking online courses and all of this stuff, you know. And yes, learn the domain knowledge that's critical to you doing well or understanding a specific area of focus, but do not discount the fact that you can learn from anyone and everyone, and it doesn't matter how much more educated or less educated that person is. You can learn more from your gardener, lady that cleans your helper, than you'll imagine. But you need to open yourself up to that, to approach conversations in that manner, and not that you know
everything else that happens around us. It's like what it is basically like perspective. You know what I mean? Because it is what it is, of course. But I think what has like a greater impact is how you view it. I have an opportunity to join that meeting, as opposed to I have to join a meeting. It feels more or less than an obligation, but an opportunity, that not a lot of people are granted. And I think that what teaches you is actually like gratitude.
100%.